Hey there, welcome to my new Guitar-Nerdery video. Today I'd like to give you a compact overview over the Ionian mode, also known as the major scale. First I'm gonna make a quick analysis of the scale, and then, more important of course, I'm gonna demonstrate to you how it actually sounds. Then comes the practical part. I'm gonna show you a 3 notes per string scale shape to start with, and that helps you to visualize the mode. And then comes the real great part. I'm gonna show you a marvelous sounding chord combination. A chord combination that exactly reproduces the sound of the Ionian mode. So stay tuned. The Ionian mode, or also known as the major scale. We have a classical and a jazz music theory, but both have something in common. While some things are seen differently from different perspectives, when it comes to the Ionian scale, you can in both words say the major scale. The term major scale always refers to the Ionian scale, and the Ionian scale is the first one of the Ionian system, also known as the church modes. The Ionian scale is a so-called diatonic scale, and diatonic means it consists out of whole tones and half tones. And the formula or the order of whole tones and half tones within that scale is whole tone, half tone, whole tone, whole tone, half tone. So we have a half tone step from the 3rd to the 4th note and from the 7th to the octave. And the position of those 2 halftone steps within the scale defines the sound of the Ionian scale. If you only change one note within that scale, you change the scale. There's no way out of it. In this video I'm gonna explain everything in the key of A, so A is always the root. If you don't have any scale shapes to play A Ionian, I have one for you. It's a 3 notes per string scale shape, and it goes like this. I call this pattern number 1. This shape could be a scale shape to play all 7 modes, but when you define the first note here, the starting note, as the root, then it is the Ionian scale. If you also want to play with the backing track I did my demonstration with, you find it also on my YouTube channel. Use the playlist backing tracks, somewhat like that. I also put a link at the end of this video. The third note of the Ionian scale is a major third, and that makes it a major scale. And let's now talk about the basic chords that belong to that scale. A basic triad and the basic tetrad. If we take the first, the third and the fifth note of that scale, we get an A major, a major triad. And when we also add the seventh note of that scale, which is a major seventh, we get an A major seventh. It's hard to fret here. Don't do that. So this is an A major seventh. And we got rid of three notes. The second one, fourth one, and the sixth one. The second, the fourth, and the sixth. Within the Ionian system, or the church modes, we have three different major scales. The difference between those three major scales, Ionian, Lydian, the fourth mode, and Mixolydian, the difference is defined in those notes which are not in the basic triad or the basic tetrad. So when we play simply an A major, the A major triad is a part, can be a part of the A Ionian scale, the A Lydian scale, or the A Mixolydian scale. And even when we add the seventh, when we play an A major seventh, you still can play it over Lydian mode, because all notes also are in the Lydian scale. And now my promised beautiful chord combination comes in. I call this the Frank Gambale method. Frank Gambale, those of you who don't know him, he's an incredible jazz fusion guitar player. And a very long time ago, he made a guitar tutorial video on VHS back then. There he explained how you can integrate the sound in a chord progression, triads with an added root that describe exactly the sound of a mode. And this whole concept works by the principle of exclusion. When you play this chord combination, you actually play the whole scale. At this point, we need the order of chords in the Ionian system. And this you have to learn by heart. Also, the mode names. It comes in very, very handy. The order of the modes is Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian, and Locrian. We give all these modes numbers. Ionian first, Dorian second, Phrygian third, Lydian fourth, Mixolydian fifth, Aeolian sixth, and Locrian is seventh. Talking about basic triads now, the order is major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished. Major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished. Learn this by heart. And now let's have a look at the fourth and the fifth chord. You see, both are major chords. And now comes the Frank Gambale method, the chord combination that defines a mode by using the principle of exclusion. The main chord is, of course, the basic triad of that mode. In the key of A Ionian, it's an A major triad. But as I've already explained, this doesn't define or doesn't make a difference between Ionian, Lydian, and Mixolydian. It already roots out all minor scales, Dorian, Phrygian, and Aeolian, and also Locrian mode, but makes no difference between those major scales. The chord combination that completely describes the sound of the mode you want to play goes like this. You take the 4th and the 5th chord of the Ionian system, which are both major triads. In the key of A Ionian, it would be D major and E major. And when we play this over the root A, this is exactly the sound of A Ionian. A chord combination that completely, exactly describes the sound of the A Ionian mode. I can play, of course, A major triad, but that is not a complete description. And then add, in combination, the 4th chord and the 5th chord of the A Ionian system. And this is D major and E major. If I keep A in the root and play a D over it, so we get a slash chord, D slash A, and we play an E major over A. This is an E slash A, and then also the root chord. Then we get the Ionian sound. This is because of the principle of exclusion. Let me explain this. The basic triad A major throws out all minor scales, including the Locrian scale, but doesn't make the difference between Ionian, Lydian and mixed Lydian. When we keep the A as the root and play a D major over it, the root D is the perfect 4th to A, and that throws out the Lydian mode, because the Lydian mode defines itself by having an augmented 4th. And when playing an E major with A in the root, the major 3rd of the E G sharp is the major 7th to A, and that throws out mixed Lydian, because mixed Lydian is a major scale with a minor 7. So it should be a G when it would be A mixed Lydian. But E over A plus D over A, and then to round it up, the basic triad. This chord combination allows nothing else than playing Ionian over this. But this is also why it sounds Ionian, because you're playing Ionian. This is the key concept, and it works also for all other modes. And therefore there are 6 more episodes to come. For this whole sub-series of 7 episodes about 7 modes, I always choose for explanations the key of A with the root A, because we have an open A string, and that makes it possible to combine it with learning inversions. Just in case you do not know what chord inversions are, I've also made videos about this, a lot of, but to name 2, it's Guitar-Nerdery number 66 and 67. I recommend them if you're really new to the topic. You have to learn 3 different chord shapes, because we have a root form, a first inversion and a second inversion. Of course, you can play this everywhere on the fretboard, but those kind of inversions I'm going to show you, the fingerings, are fretted on the D, G and B string. And to go in the right order, having the root form, the root chord first, so means root, third, fifth, and A major on the D, G and B string, we can play it like this. I'm here in the fifth position. So here we have the A root, C sharp, major third, and the fifth, the perfect fifth, E. The first inversion now, when we put the root on top, is here. I'm here now in the ninth position. Memorize this shape. The third one, is this one in the campfire region here. This is the second inversion because the root is now in the middle of this, and in the bass we have the fifth and on top the third. All three voicings. And then we can also put an additional octave, the A string in the bass. And now it comes very handy. The fourth and the fifth chord we have to add in this chord combination to display the mode are also major triads. So you can use the same shapes, but in different positions. Let's go through the first position, here. You all know this A major. Then let's add a D major, and then an E major. And this sounds beautiful. We have also one E here. Let's go to the second position. Here we added a D is here, and here we have an E. Again with a lower A in the bass. Cool, and the third position, the D we find here, the E we find here, and we can round it up with the octave of the first voicing. Let's now combine all positions. This, what I call the Gambale Method, is a genius concept. I make use of it a lot, and I really recommend to try this. This was the first episode, 6 more to come. This was more detailed than the next ones. I will then always refer to this first episode, because then I do not have to repeat myself over and over again. If this wasn't detailed enough for you, I recommend 2 of my former episodes, Guitar-Nerdery number 68 and 69. They're both about the Gambale Method. Really good stuff. Or what else you can do is, because I have much more tutorials about those topics in my tutorial library, just use the YouTube search engine, put in my surname and the topic, and I believe you will find it. If you liked this video and do not already have, please consider to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. It would really support this channel and help me to make further videos. Have fun learning those inversions, and enjoy the marvelous sound of the Ionian mode. Until next time, when I'm gonna explain the Dorian mode.